The goal is helping the faith become personal and something your kids can't even imagine letting go of. And these are 5 cities in Europe you can travel to that I think can help you do exactly that. If you're new here, hi, so am I. I'm Jen, and I might be new to YouTube, but I am not new to travel. Over the last 25 years, I've traveled to almost every major Catholic site in Europe, and now I help families plan meaningful Catholic trips that are more than just vacations, because I really believe travel can shape a family spiritually when it's done intentionally. And today I want to talk about 5 destinations that can help kids claim the faith instead of just hearing about it. In fact, my video about the 5 ways to prepare for a Catholic pilgrimage using my praise preparation framework, I talked about how preparation itself can help kids connect more deeply with the faith before they ever leave home. I'll link it at the end of the video. If I could pick just one place to send a Catholic family looking to really deeply connect to the faith, it would be Rome. Because Rome makes Catholicism tangible. It's very hard for kids to think Christianity is just a story when they're standing where the apostles lived and preached and died. This is where St. Peter is buried, where the early Christians were persecuted, and where the church literally changed history. And suddenly the faith stops becoming abstract and it becomes real. Your kids walk through ancient churches. They see relics they've only read about. And they descend into catacombs where Christians worship secretly underground. And instead of this happened long ago, it becomes this happened here. That shift matters. Rome also works really well for families because there's enough variety to keep kids engaged. There's history, gelato, ancient ruins, gladiators, the Vatican, the Swiss Guard, beautiful churches around every corner, but don't try to see all 900. But if Rome shows kids the strength and history of the church, then Assisi often shows them the heart of it. I always recommend my clients pair Rome with Assisi. Assisi slows people down. It's peaceful, prayerful, simple, and it's close to Rome. St. Francis, St. Clare, and St. Carlo feel incredibly human and relevant to kids. They're not unreachable saints. They're real people who radically loved God. The second place I recommend to families that want to leave a deep faith impression is Lourdes. Lourdes is different. It feels deeply emotional. It's one of the few places I have seen where even distracted teenagers suddenly get quiet. Because Lourdes confronts people with suffering, but also hope. Kids see people arriving sick, disabled, struggling, and yet the atmosphere isn't depressing. It's peaceful. There's this overwhelming sense that people came searching for healing, spiritual or physical. And whether someone receives a miracle or not, you can feel the faith here. The candlelight procession alone can impact more than 100 lectures. And Bernadette is such an important saint for children because she was simple. She was young. She was unknown. She was ordinary. And she wasn't particularly smart. Yet Our Lady appeared to her. And I think that speaks powerfully to kids because the world constantly tells them that they need status or influence to matter. The Lord reminds them that the holiness and open to God matter more. Now, Paris is my third city that could be incredibly powerful for Catholic families, and that might surprise you. Paris is full of Catholic history that people completely overlook. You have the miraculous medal chapel at Rue de Bac, and you have which has the incorrupt body of St. Catherine Labouré. She was the first saint I ever saw that was incorrupt. I will never forget it. You also have St. Vincent de Paul right around the corner. And not too far away from the heart of Paris, you have the little town of Lisieux, and you can go learn about St. Therese and her parents, St. Zélie and St. Louis Martin. And then a quick trip, another day trip the other direction, you can see the incorrupt body of Saint Bernadette in Nevers. So there's so much to see, and that's not even everything. I mean, there's so much to see in Paris. And of course, Paris is great for artistic kids and creative kids and even sensitive kids. Paris can open a door that arguments sometimes can't. Krakow is probably the most intense place on this list at number 4 because Poland teaches courage. This is where you learn about St. John Paul II, St. Faustina and the Divine Mercy, where Jesus appeared to her. You, of course, have the Nazi occupation and St. Maximilian Kolbe. Kids can begin to realize that the faith isn't something people practice when life is easy. It's something people cling to when life is hard. And there's something incredibly powerful about showing teenagers examples of heroic faith. Not watered down faith, not comfortable faith, courageous faith. And honestly, I think older kids especially connect deeply with Poland because they can sense the authenticity here. This isn't some sort of performative religion. It's faith that survived suffering. And lastly, sometimes the most powerful pilgrimage isn't the most famous one. It's to the visit the saint your child already loves. Because when a kid connects personally with a saint, the faith stops feeling like history and starts feeling like family. Maybe your son loves St. Michael because he sees him as strong and courageous. Maybe your daughter connects deeply with St. Joan of Arc because she was brave at such a young age. Maybe your family has a devotion to St. Joseph. Maybe your teenagers relate to St. Carlo because he lived in the modern world with technology and still pursued holiness and loved the Eucharist. Maybe your child loves St. Paul because of his dramatic conversion story. When kids stand where that saint lived, see their relics, and hear their story in the actual place it happened, something clicks emotionally, and those moments can stay with them for the rest of their lives. At the end of the day, no trip guarantees your child will keep the faith, but I do think meaningful encounters matter. I think shared experiences matter. I think beauty matters. And I think stepping outside of everyday life matters. And I think many families wait too long to take these trips because someday your kids will be grown. Schedules get complicated, life gets busy, and the window for these shared formative experiences gets smaller. The goal isn't just taking the trip. The goal is helping the faith become personal and something your kids can't even imagine letting go of. So if your family has been thinking about a Catholic pilgrimage, don't just dream about it forever. And if you want help planning a trip that's meaningful, intentional, and centered around your family's faith journey, that's exactly what a Precation is intended to do. And I'd love to help you build one your family never forgets. Just comment below, like email me, and I'll link my email address so we can get started.